good evening from wherever you're joining us today on Microsoft Dynamics 365 Finance and Operation webinar session. So with the team, process automation for customer collections and vendor payments using Dynamics 365 Finance. So my name is Goodluck. I'm a content syndication executive with Reliance Infosystems, and I'll be your anchor for today. So just to mention, we're going to have some housekeeping rules to help us drive this webinar effectively. So we'll be starting off with this presentation will be recorded, and all attendees will be muted and videos will be turned off. If you have any question, any clarity, any queries at all during the course of this webinar session, please feel free to use the chat window, drop all your queries, and we will do well to answer them all. So with me on this call, I have the Dynamics 365 experts, Chidemawa Olu, Peter Nibile, Benjamin Michael, who will take you through all you need to know about Dynamics 365 Finance and the benefit you stand to gain when you use it on your for your business. So we're starting off with the agenda session where we get to do introduction. Here we introduce our organization, who we are as an organization, and why we are capable enough to handle this session. Then we'll jump right into the Dynamics 365 Finance, then the payment and collection process automation, after which we will run the demonstration part, then take all your questions, then answer them duly. So just to jump right in, so Reliance Infosystems, we are an evolving ICT organization and we're headquartered in Lagos, Nigeria. So what do? Basically, we help organizations to achieve their business goals, and we do this by leveraging on cutting-edge technologies to create a unique value propositions and matchless competitive positioning in their various industries. So talking about locations, we are physically located across Middle East and Africa. We have Dubai, Pakistan, Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, and Botswana. And also we are digitally present across 21 other countries across the globe. So, so far we've been able to achieve this feat using our success outcome philosophy, which revolves around building with and winning with our customers. So in Reliance Infosystems, we don't just see our customers as a client or customers, we see them as our partner, where we see their pain points as our pain points and their success stories as our unsuccess stories. So at Reliance Infosystems, we measure our success by the quantum of progress we have helped our customers, to achieve so far. So talking about success, we've been able to, achieve certain feats and awards, like we won the Microsoft Award in 2017 in Nigeria and 2021 in Nigeria. Also, we won the Microsoft Country Partner of the Year Award in 2020 in Ghana, which is our sister company called Cloudware Africa. So far, we've also won Sophos Country Partner of the Year Award, which we won in 2021, and other recognitions from different agencies and bodies. In Reliance Infosystems, we have our competencies and capabilities around certain solutions and products. So we have like 17 good competencies around security, messaging, data center, and cloud platform. We also have.
So you're saying instead of us fully know those Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, together.
Sorry about that. So we also have advanced specialization around adoption and change management, Windows Server and SQL Server migration to Microsoft Azure, meetings and meeting rooms for Microsoft Teams, callings for Microsoft for Teams, modernization of web, then low-code application development. So in Reliance Infosystems, we have what we call our success pillars, which help us to deliver our organizations and businesses business goals. We have the business transformation pillar, we have operational excellence pillar, we have the protection assurance pillar. So I'll quickly touch on them. So when it comes to business transformation pillar, here we help businesses to transform digitally, thereby helping them to lower their costs, improve efficiency, and maximize productivity. So we have certain solutions that help us to achieve this feat. We have the identity and access management. We have the business productivity platform, we have enterprise storage, and we have data center modernization, to mention just but a few. Then we have the operational excellence pillar. Under this pillar, we talk about how people connect with data, systems, and processes, to deliver exceptional business outcomes. And we have certain solutions that help us achieve this. We have the modern ERP solutions, the data platform, the robotic process automation, the business intelligence, and the customer engagement solution. Then the last one, which is the protection assurance pillar. So under this pillar, we understand that organizations they need their data to be protected. Hence, we sell rest of mind as a service. So we have solutions that help us achieve this. We have the advanced threat protection, we have the penetration testing, we have the endpoint protection, we have the security intelligence, we have the security audit, the vulnerability assessment, and the governance and compliance. So this is just in a nutshell of who we are as an organization and why we are capable enough to handle this session. Also, don't forget, if you have any question at all, any challenge, any clarification during the course of this webinar, please feel free to drop your queries using the chat window, and we'll do it to answer them. So at this juncture, I'll be handing over to Chidinma, who will take you through introduction to Dynamics 365 Finance and everything you need to know about it. Please, Chidinma, the floor is yours.
Sorry, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from. Thank you once again. I would like to quickly talk us through an introduction to Dynamics 365 Finance. But before we do, I would like to talk about some of the common finance challenges that organizations face today. So most organizations today find themselves stuck with legacy systems, and of course, we know that data is growing within organizations, and then this surging data, the legacy systems no longer have the ability to meet the data demands of the organizations. This would in turn lead to static reporting, and then organizations also have inadequate tools to meet their growing business complexity. As a result, most organizations are faced with a lot of manual and inefficient error-prone processes, and this would in turn lead to increasing risk and threats within the organization. So traditional finance, that as we know it today, is evolving. Of course, we know that there are certain pillars around finance. We have the accounts payable, accounts receivable. We have the chart of accounts where you get to define all your account structures within the organization. We have the cash and bank management. However, Microsoft has identified some digital hotspots across these different financial areas, and then there are a number of innovations that Microsoft has created around the solutions. We have the electronic invoicing on accounts payable and accounts receivable. On accounts payable, we have a very robust vendor management portal where vendors have the ability to come into the system and have insight to their transactions within the system. We have several invoice matching policies within the application as well. On chart of accounts, we have the ability to ensure that all our chart of accounts meet the compliance standards across the globe today. We also have business documents. And then on the cash and bank management, we have solutions like intelligent cash flow forecast that allows you to perform some form of cash flow demand and forecast within your organization. So what are the benefits of Dynamics 365 Finance? Dynamics 365 Finance basically helps you to enhance your financial decision making, unify and automate your business processes, have a strategic impact and reduce cost, and also decrease global financial complexity and risk. So we'll look at all of this in a bit. How does Dynamics 365 help you enhance your financial decision making? With Dynamics 365 Finance, you're able to close your books in record time. You're also able to, and what does this mean basically? So within Dynamics 365 Finance, you have a very robust financial period close workspace where you're able to come into the system, have insight on all the pending activities and tasks within your organization that are necessary for you to close your period, and then you're able to assign these tasks to different individuals who would come in, look at the task assigned to them and close out on them in record time. We also have the ability to predict or project your cash flow within the organization. Like I mentioned earlier, there's a cash flow demand and forecast functionality within the application where the system is able to help you predict or project your cash flow forecast. You also have the ability to predict your customer payments. So based on certain criteria and rules that you set up within the application, you have the ability to predict when your customers are likely to pay on time, customers who have been in time past not been able to pay up their credits on time, and then you're able to make some form of business decisions out of this information. You're also able to adapt quickly with intelligent budget proposal. What does this mean? So you have been able to create different budgets within the application for a few years. The system sort of is able to take those budgets that you've had over the past few years and sort of propose a budget for you for the current financial year. And out of that, you're able to quickly, instead of going back and forth with budgeting, you have like something that has been intelligently proposed to you by the system, and you're able to quickly use that within your organization. How does Dynamics 365 Finance help you to unify and automate your business processes. Basically, Dynamics 365 sits on something called Microsoft Cloud. So you have all your Microsoft solutions integrated seamlessly with Dynamics 365 Finance. And this would help you, this would provide like a single source of truth for you, where you're able to quickly integrate even with third-party solutions so that you have all your information within Dynamics 365 and you're able to make business decisions. You're also able to automatically process your vendor invoice. So like we mentioned earlier, there's a very robust vendor portal solution within the application where your vendors have insight to what's going on within their transactions, and you're also able to use some form of vendor matching policies and workflows to drive your vendor processes within the application. You're also able to effectively manage your credit risk and collections. So there are different rules that you can create to help you manage this credit risk and collections within the application. My colleague is going to show that in a few minutes, and then you're going to be able to see how to also automate your credit collection process within the application. How does it help you have strategic impact and reduce costs? So most organizations have different businesses that they run today. So within the application, you have the ability to manage all these different businesses by creating new subsidiaries. So instead of going to get different applications to help you manage your businesses, you have the ability to create these new organizations or new businesses that are your onboarding within your organization as legal entities within the solution, and then you're quickly able to manage your business, these different businesses as separate legal entities. You're also able to thrive in a subscription-based economy. What does this really mean? You're able to sort of subscribe to the solution based on the number of users you have, and as you grow within the organization, you're able to onboard more users to meet your business needs within the application. You're also able to increase your workforce productivity. What does this really mean? Dynamics 365 is a really role-centric solution. So there are a number of workspaces that are pertaining to the different roles you have within your organization. Once you come into the role center or the workspaces, you're able to sort of get insight as to what tasks are pending for you to carry out within your role, and then you're able to close out and prioritize those tasks within the organization. Finally, how does it help you decrease global financial complexity and risk? You're able to quickly adapt to changing regulatory requirements. Microsoft understands that there are different financial requirements and global standards today, and this is taken into consideration when they develop the solution. So as these different regulatory requirements are changing, you're certain that Microsoft is also taking this into consideration and updating the solution to meet these different regulatory requirements. You're also able to meet local and global business needs. This really means that the system has a number of different languages out of the box to meet your business needs, and then you're able to quickly extend the solution to meet other business needs that you have. You also have the ability to minimize your need for customization. There's the Power Platform where you're able to quickly build out solutions to meet your business need. If the need that you have within the organization is not available out of the box, you have the ability to onboard on the Power Platform and quickly build out solutions to meet these business needs within your organization. I would like to remind everyone, if you have questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. And as we go on, we'll be able to take these questions on the chat. I'll quickly be handing over to my colleague, Peter, to take us through the introduction to process automation within the application.
Okay. Now we'd like to head right to the main section of the webinar for today, which is introduction to payment and collection process automation using Dynamics 365 Finance. So in this section, we'll be looking at process automation when it comes to dealing with credit collections, customers, and also automating vendor payment. We'll look at some use cases and also the overall benefits of implementing the process automation framework in your business. So when you think of process automation, what readily comes to your mind? Processes or tasks that you can automate while you work on another task? Exactly it. See, process automation within Dynamics 365 Finance allows simple scheduling of processes to be run by your batch server. In a sense, technically, it allows you to run other tasks, to run a task in the background by your batch server while you work on another task. So, and within Dynamics 365, the process automation framework has a very logical structure, which is easy to understand as well. First, we say it's simplified administration. It allows you to just go and enable the feature and then go ahead to add the features that you need. So the logical structure is this. Each process automation in Dynamics 365 is regarded as a type. Now, within each type, you can create series, and this series can address any of your financial needs. And within each series, you can set up occurrences too as well. Now, to set it up, you need to go into your system administration module, enable the feature, then go straight to creating your series or any of your business needs, and setting up your occurrences or modifying already existing one as well. It also comes to the calendar view, which we'll take a look at as well. Within it, you can see scheduled works that are going to happen in the future, the ones that have happened in the past, and you can work around it as well. It also has this Outlook calendar experience, which you find comfortable using, especially when setting up your occurrences for any of your series too as well. So what is available out of the box when it comes to process automation types in Dynamics 365? So Dynamics 365 offers out of the box three process automation types. We have your collection process automation, which sits on the credit and collection module. And this is specifically for customers, following up on payments, collection of payments from your customers. And we have your vendor payment proposal automation, which is specifically for organizations that have a recurring schedule when it comes to making payment to their vendors. And it sits on top of the account payable module. We also have your cash flow forecast automation. So your cash flow forecast automation, which sits on the cash flow forecast module. Someone is not muted. Can we mute? Can we mute ourselves? Hello. All right. Thank you very much. So we have the cash flow forecast automation too as well. Basically, the cash flow forecast automation allows organizations that have a recurring schedule for cash flow forecast calculations to easily schedule it and monitor the execution status. Of course, we'll be focusing on just two of them, which is the collection process automation and the vendor payment proposal automation. You see, the focal points of the process automation framework within Dynamics 365 is you can set up a bunch of criteria and is with any of your process automation type, and it's going to work seamlessly and address any of your financial needs. And to that point, you see that you as an organization or as a business analyst or as a CFO, you see that there are so many ways in which the process automation framework can be useful other than just these three. And Dynamics 365 offers that capacity, offers that capability in the sense that you can extend the process automation framework. So with the aid of developers, documentations readily available, you can go ahead to extend the framework, whether it is for existing modules or custom-made modules within Dynamics 365 Finance. So let's go straight to discussing the first one, which is your collections process automation. Now, your collection process automation, or we'll say your customer collection process, is very important. Every organization must have customers as they act as your source of income. You need customers to buy your products or your services. However, the rate at which customers will make payment varies, and each customer may have different payment methods as well. As such, every organization needs to have a team of collection agents whose roles are specifically for managing activities related to this. However, we come to see that a significant amount of time is spent on researching on how to go ahead in collecting payments from customers. First of all, to group them, if these are high-end customers or these are low-end customers, and then the procedures for you to go ahead with collecting your payments from them. Now, this takes a lot of time. And this is where the collection process automation comes very handy. It allows you to set up a strategy-based approach for your collection process, in the sense that your collection team can go ahead and set up customized email reminders. They can set up program process for sending collection letters to remind your customers of payments that they need to make. You can set up all those things and add other criteria as well. A good way to look at it is you can group your customers. Maybe these are diamond customers, or these are customers that start from A to M. You can group them and then add your criteria for following up on those payments. So you see here, you're able to set up a strategy based, as many as you want, and all your collection agents have to do is follow up at the end of the day with your customers. Did you see our reminders? It's time to make payment, and obviously they will respond. Of course, set it up within Dynamics 365. So in summary, we say the collection process automation allows you as an organization to automatically create collection tags, send emails, and create collection letters based on rules that have been set by the collection team. So of course, to set it up, there's a map for it. There's a process for it. First, you need to create your collection team, then assign collection agents to it. Then we have what we call agent snapshots in Dynamics 365. So with your AD snapshot, you can see it allows you to see a calculated balance for your customers at a specific point in time. So to set it up, you also need your aging period definitions. And then once you're able to get that ready, then you also add your customers to a group, which we'll call a customer pool, which you can use other criteria, other group to query them. And then you proceed to set up your collection process automation. Of course, other requirements, you need to have customers. You need to have sales invoices and fee text to follow up on payments, customized emails, which you can set, and then you can also have collection letters as well. So that's for it when it comes to the collection process automation. Now let's look at the next one, which is your vendor payment proposal. Now this works for organizations that have a recurring schedule for making payments to their vendors. Let's say you have vendors and you want to make payments to them every Wednesday or Wednesday to Friday. Or you have domestic vendors who just say this particular domestic vendors, their method of payment is electronic payment. Or you have domestic vendors that their method of payment is check payment. And you want to be able to automate it. That maybe at the first of the month, you want to collate all of them and then make payments to them. Or you have international vendors that also have electronic payments, and you want to be able to collate all of them and make payment at a certain period of time. So basically, that's what the payment proposal automation allows you to do. It allows you to define the schedule, define the criteria for your invoice selection, whether it is going to be by due dates or it's going to be by cash discount or by both of them. And you can set up other criteria and also assign the particular payment journal to use to track all the transactions related to all these vendors. So the payment proposal automation, of course, does not allow you to automatically post payments. This is because as an organization, you may have different processes that you have for validating payments before you can post them, or you have some workflow proposal you have that each payment has to pass through before they can be approved. But in the area of collating all of them together at a specific point that the organization wants to, you're able to set it up with the payment proposal automation. So in summary, the vendor payment proposal allows organizations that have a recurring schedule to be able to automate their payment processes. So yeah, so far we've been able to talk a lot about the process automation framework, looking at credit collection, collection process automation, and also the vendor payment proposal. Let's now see it in action. So I'll be sharing my screen now so that we'll be able to see it in action. I'll share my screen. Okay. Okay. All right. So first, when you come into Dynamics 365 Finance, this is what you'll be presented with. This is the dashboard. Now, before we get here, you have to pass through some authentication process for you to be able to get here. This is what Microsoft calls the multi-factor authentication. So once you've been able to provision a Dynamics 365 solution, a special URL will be provided. With this special URL that we provided, all you need to do is paste it. So this is a special URL. Then you paste it. And you'll be able to log in with your organization's work email and password. And once you've been able to proceed with that, you still need to pass through some other processes as well, which Microsoft calls the multi-factor authentication. This makes sure that in as much as the ERP solution is accessible on the cloud, it is still very, very much secured. So once you've been able to successfully log in and your details have been stored, you're presented with this screen. So let's quickly take a look at this. We'll start with the navigation bar. So we have the link here, Finance and Operation, which takes you back to the home here. And then at the far right here, we have the particular legal entity that we'll be working with. So this is USMF, and the name of this legal entity is called Contoso System USA. Now, legal entities in Dynamics 365 are any organization that is certified to legally run a business. Now, this speaks to what my colleague earlier mentioned about Dynamics 365 Finance allowing you to close your book faster and simplify your financial processes. So if you're an organization that's looking to spread its tentacles, you're looking at having so many branches, and you're worried that, for each of those branches, you need to set up a different ERP solution. Not to worry. With Dynamics 365 Finance, you can house all of them under one solution. And all you need to do is, switch to any of the legal entity that works for you, that is supposed to work on. and each legal entity will house each employee that is supposed to handle different activities. A good example is this organization called Control Center Entertainment. So Control Center Entertainment has different branches, as you can see here, and this particular one they're working on is the Entertainment System USA. And then you have your search bar. Now your search bar basically allows you to quickly access features just by typing it. So you can see here, I want to go into process automation. All I need to do is type process automation, and I'll be able to see where I'm supposed to go to, whether I want to see the process automation that is in account payable, which is the vendor payment proposal, or the one that's in credit and collection, which is the credit collection process automation. Also, other areas too as well, you can search for and readily access it. So this improves your productivity as well. Then we have your action center. Your action center basically shows you, notifies you of every activity that has run on your ERP solution, whether it's been successful, whether it has not been successful, or whether a batch server has just finished running a process. You get notified about all of this. And you have here to send feedbacks to Microsoft on how you're using the ERP solution. You have a setting that allows you to go ahead to set up your user option, your tax recorder, your mobile app, and also do other personalization features as well. Let's quickly take a look at how the user option looks like. So here within the user option, you're able to set up some visuals too. You can set up how you want your ERP solution to look like. You can go ahead and set everything up. Set up your preferences, the date and time, account, email, and all of that you can set up. Of course, this will already be set up for you, and all you just need to do is go straight to doing your major activity. So let's go back to the home, and here we have the help and support. Your help and support basically allows you to send information to Microsoft on how, whether there's been any issue while you're using the ERP solution. And finally, you have here to sign out as well. Now coming here, we have the banner. Here you have the name of your organization and a banner. You can always change this to as well. Then you have the calendar, then you have work items assigned to me. So here, it speaks to productivity as well. So as a manager, I can come in using the project management module to set up different activities that I want a team member to work on. And all you will do, the team member has to do is log into his environment and you'll be able to see the task that is assigned to you. Then you have your tiles too as well. Your tiles basically allows you to access workspaces within the Dynamics 365. And workspaces basically are what we call shortcuts to the main specific module that you'll be working with. So let's say, for example, we have your customer credit and collection. So here you have an holistic overview of this specific module that is called the credit and collection module. So you can see the number of open activities, you can see the number of collection letters that have not yet been printed, number of sales orders. So you can see with visuals as well to assist you, you can see a shortcut, an overview of what is in this module and quickly make decisions out of it too as well. And you see shortcuts that take you to other places too as well. So they're not just one, there's so many workspaces within Dynamics 365 Finance that addresses different financial activities for your organization, from business, from bank management to benefits and all of that. So we've been able to talk about the tiles. Now let's come to our navigation pane. Navigation pane, which you could also pin if you'll be readily accessing it. Here, the home takes you back to this place, to the home. Then you have your favorites. So this also speaks to productivity. If you know you regularly work on specific areas or menus, you can just start them as favorites so you can readily access them. You have your recent too as well, recently accessed menus. And then you have your workspaces, which are also here too as well. Each workspace, you can also start them as favorites to readily access them. And then we have your modules. So your modules in Dynamics 365, they represent different areas of your financial, of your organization that you like to work on. Let's say, for example, your accounts payable is with anything related to your vendors. You have your accounts receivable, anything related to your customers too as well. You also have module that speaks to asset management, audit workbench, a lot of them. Particularly, we have your general ledger, which every organization will know that the core of your business, you need to be able to track your financial activity. Now, for Dynamics 365, the general ledger is the core of it. It allows you to perform your record keeping when it comes to your legal entities, financial activities, the debit and your credit records, and other validations as well. You see your chart of accounts where you can readily go and set them up. Main accounts, your financial dimension, accounting structures, your currencies, your fiscal calendar, and all of that. Of course, now we would like to go to the main topic of our webinar, which is the process automation. We'll start first with the collection process automation. Now, your collection process automation sits on your credit and collection module. Yes, so it sits on your credit and collection module. And as we mentioned earlier, there are a bunch of things that you need to set up before you can start making use of it. Now, your credit and collection module has two phases. We have your credit side, which is credit management, which is with anything related to credit for your customers. It's a credit limit adjustment, setting up credit limits for each of your customers. You have that within your credit and collection module. You can see here. Yeah. And other areas too that make up the credit management of this module. But we're focusing more on the collection management. Now, collection management is where we'll be looking at, and this is where your collection process automation rests on. Now, the series of things that you need to set up before you can start making use of your collection management very easily. So one of the first things is creating your teams, which you showed in the map earlier. We need to create a team and then assign our team to this particular to the collection management, and then add the collection agents to them, set up other features as well, which we'll see now. So first I'll need to do is go and set up my collection team. So go over to my administration, and I will see teams. Click on it, I'll come to here. So I already created one ahead. So there's one collection, name, assign a description for it, and then you go ahead to assign team members. Now these team members represent your collection agent. So these are just people that will follow up on customers when it comes to their payment. So they represent every worker that works in your organization that has been assigned to do this specific task. You will go ahead and add them. So once you'll be able to set your collection team and you're able to add members to it, the next is to go into your credit and collection parameters and assign a specific team that evolve to this collections default so that they can start to work. Now, after you've been able to set up this, there are other things you need to set up. One is what you call your agent snapshot, which we mentioned earlier. Your agent snapshot gives you an overview of your customers as regards their payment. It gives you a calculated overview of your customers regarding their payment. And for you to be able to set it up, you need to first set up your agent period definition and set up other tags related to it. So we see your agent period definition now. The agent period definition basically allows you to analyze the maturity of a customer's account and based on the dates that you've been able to enter in your period. So we have the first one, which is your 2 days before. So we see how it has been set up. So here is going to give me and allow me to analyze my customer payment based on this information I've added. So 2 days before it is due, a day before it is due, when it is due, a day after it has been due, and also 2 days after it's due. So I've set this one up. You can also set your 2 weeks before. You can also see this one as related to days, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and 180 days too as well. You can set up your agent period definition. This will work alongside your agent snapshot for your customers. So once you've been able to set that up, now you need to set up your customer pool. Customer pool basically allows you to define a group of customers based on certain queries and manage them. So for example, we have your A to M customers. So you can see from the name, it's very logical. So these are customers that the names start from A to M. You can assign them using your global address book. Then you have all customers, addresses all customers. And you can see this which created here. We have your 2 days. The information, the description is called 2 days interval, and particular pool type is called collection. I assigned 2 criteria here. I wanted to work alongside the snapshot I created earlier, which is 2 days before. So that's the criteria I set, and also wanted to address a particular customer. Of course, for this demo, I already set one, which we'll use, which is for your test. And only I want this group of customers to just be one, and the pool type is called collection. So once I've been able to set this up, all I need to do is assign this pool to my collection agent. Now, I'll go into my collection agent. I'll be able to see each of them. Remember, we already set them up. We added 3 of them already. I'll go to them. Now, for each of the collection agents, I want to add the group of customers that I want them to follow up on payments. So for this particular person, Annie, I've added 4 customer pool to her, so she'll be following up on each of those payments. And anything related to them, she'll get more information about it. So once we're able to set this up, now we can readily set up our process automation within Dynamics 365. So let's get that. So represented with your collection process automation. Yeah, this is how it got here. So for my favorites, I can easily access them. Go under your create a module and create a collection module. So I just go to here and I see process automation. Of course, for us to be able to easily work with this, let us create a test. Let's create a sales invoice, a free text invoice rather, for a particular customer, and then set up a process automation to work. So let me quickly set this up. I have this one. This invoice is, the date is today, and it's going to be due in 2 days. I've added the details of what this invoice is about, added my charges. Now I'm just going to post. And I've added the particular customer. Now this particular customer, let's just quickly take a look at his information. So let's take a look at his information. Why this is posting. So let me go back to this customer. Why this is posting. I'll be able to see that this particular customer uses my email address, so we can see how it works. Customer. Okay. This. So the contact information for this customer is this. So we're going to remind this customer that he has an invoice that's going to be due 2 days ahead, and we want to set up a process automation to readily remind him. So we go back to our process automation. And while we're here, let's quickly take a look at how it works. Remember, we mentioned that for a process automation in Dynamics 365, each process automation is regarded as a type. It's called a type. And within each type, you create what you call your series. And each of your series, within it, you can set up occurrences. So all I need to do is go ahead to create new process automation, select the type, select the particular legal entity I want this to work with, which is USMF, we click with it, and we go ahead and create series. And once you create series, we present it with this information. Of course, I've already created one, so I'll work with what I've already created. So I'm going to work with this demo automation, click on edit. So I want this to run almost immediately. So in the next 3 minutes, let's put that to work. Okay. I want this to run like this. And I want it to start, as already started from the 4th, 25th of February, March, April, from April. I don't want it to end. I want it to run on a daily basis. So this is where I'm setting up my occurrence pattern. And I want it to run on a weekly basis, or every weekday, but on a daily basis. This is where I can set up my occurrence. Then I also want to get alerts on whether it's been successful or not too as well. I'll be able to set everything up here. Once I'm done with this section, I provided the name of my process automation series. I can go ahead to give description. This is just a demo. And I'll go ahead and click on next. Now, once I've done that, I'll be presented with this section that allows me to go ahead and set up my process automation. And this is where you can set up your strategy as regards how you want to collect payments from specific customers that you've been able to group. Now, here under your process hierarchy, you select a process collection process name. I'll call it new customers. The particular group of customers I wanted to address is this I created earlier. Test, and I only have one customer added to it. I can add as much as I want. I can group them. But for this demo, I'm using just one. So once I've added it here, see the list shows all of them. Then I'm done here. I can go ahead and add more as well, but I'm good with this. Now, once I'm done with that, next thing is to set up my process details. Now, my process details allows me to set the specific format or actions I want to use to follow up with my customer so that I can make payment. So I have three setup here already. I said three days before the invoice is due, I want him to get reminded, and I want it to get reminded by email. Of course, I can also set up the other action types as well. I can decide to send a collection letter to him directly, or I can also use other activities as well. You can specify it. The whole point is setting up different criteria and setting up your strategy for you to follow up on vendor payments. And since I'm going to be using email, I need to have an email template, which is where the business document comes into play. And since I want to go 3 days before, so I have when, so I want it to be before invoice due date. So, and since it's 3 days, I'm going to put 3. Then the recipient should be a customer, and the particular contact detail to follow up for this particular for this customer should be the email setup that has been set up for invoice. Then I have another one for 2 days before. This is the email template I'm going to be using. I have another one for a day before, so they can say that. So let's take a look at how the template looks like itself. So this is for this particular invoice pre-done. This is the template setup. Let's see how it looks like, because you can set it up. You can add the information that you want to be sent to the particular invoice, particular customer, and there's an email template map set up for you to readily do that. So you can see here, the content of this email to get to the customer is look, invoice, the name of the invoice is going to be due at a particular date, the date that the invoice is going to be due, then the total amount that is due, and who to contact when when you want to make payment. I'm good with this. I click on OK. Of course, if I want to edit it as well, it's just an HTML content. I can go ahead and browse and edit it, so I can show you how that is. Edit. Open Notepad. So you can see the setup. You can add as much information as you want, and it's going to work seamlessly when you upload it at the end of the day. Let's see how it works. Let me upload. Open. And upload. Once uploaded, I'll be able to see the content of how it is. Since it's the same thing, you can see how it looks like. Now, if I'm good with this, all I need to do is click on OK, and then proceed to the next step. Now here, we're able to see a preview of the process to see whether it's going to be completed or not. So we can see a preview. So here, all I need to select a particular customer, select the process assignment that I've assigned to it, and see if it's able to pick any information about that customer. And yeah, it's been able to pick. Remember, we had set up an invoice already, so it's able to pick. So it shows that it's going to work. And if I'm good with this, I'll click on finish. Now, since I set this to run at 10:52, let me increase the time to 5, and click on next. And since every information here is good to go, all I need to do is click on finish. And OK, all that have been made to the series. All future occurrences of this series should be recreated to reflect the new information. So all I need to do is now wait and see, check my mail to confirm. Remember, I'm the customer here, so I'll be able to get information as to whether it was successful or not. And the next step is to take a look at the overview of how the process automation really works in IM365 Finance. Remember, we mentioned that it has a calendar-like view, which allows you to see your process automation that have happened in the past, the ones that were successful and the ones that were not successful, and also allows you to see process automation that are going to happen in the future, even a week ahead or 3 weeks ahead. So we'll have a look at this. So you can see the ones that happened in the past, and see if there was an error. You get the C notification, and you need to follow up to as well. You can also see the ones that successfully worked. Example, successfully works, so I don't have any information, it means it ran successfully. I can see the ones that are also scheduled. So for example, we have one that's scheduled to run at this particular time, 10:55. What we need to do is wait. As a customer, I should get notified that that I need to go ahead and make payment. Of course, while this is running, I'm going to go ahead and go to the next section and wait till I get notified by mail. So the next area is your vendor payment proposal automation. Now to access it as well, all I need to do is go to my accounts payable. Under my accounts payable, I'll go under process automation. Under my process automation, I'll be greeted to with the same layout as in the collection process. I'll be greeted with the same layout when it comes to setting it up as well. So the same process as well. So I need to just come over here, click on create new process automation, select the particular type, vendor payment proposal, select the particular legal entity, and go ahead to create my series. Similar way. And then I provide the name, provide the time I want this to run, select the start date for it. And if I wanted to also have an end date, I can also set that up too as well. Then also go ahead to set up the occurrence pattern, whether this should be daily, or whether this should be weekly, or whether it should be monthly. Remember that the vendor payment proposal is for organizations that have a recurring schedule when it comes to making payments to their vendors. When it comes to making payments to their vendors. So let's say you have some vendors that you want them to make payment at the beginning of the month, or you want to make payment to them at the beginning of the month, or you want to make payment at the end of the month, depending on how your organization wants to set up the structure as regards making payment to, to their vendors. You can set this up as well. I want this to run every weekly. I want to also get alerts. I want to get errors. I want to get other alerts too as well. So I've set everything up. So I'll call this to process. And I'll click on next. Okay, so this time is already passed. So let me select. Right. Should be good. All right. So the next step is to set up my new process automation. Yeah, this allows me to, I can select the particular journal I want to record the transaction related to this, related to collecting payment. I can create as many journals within the system as well. Then go ahead and set up my invoice selection criteria. As mentioned earlier, you can select invoices by due date, or you can select invoices by cash discount date, or you can select invoices by both of them, your due date and cash discount. Well, this is when you set it up in your accounts payable, where you've done your normal process when it comes to purchase to pay. So you can also define your date criteria. So let's say you want this to run from Wednesday to Friday, and you already selected the specific day when you want this to start. Let's say it's going to start on a Wednesday, and you want it to also go to Friday. All you need to do is add 2, meaning there will be 2 more days for this to run to as well. And you also define your payment dates too as well. You can click on yes, set number of days for your date for adjustment. Okay. And set up the amount limit. Now for amount limit, the way it works is for organizations that have a budget when it comes to making payment to vendors, even though they've been able to set up a criteria and other information. Let's say you don't want to spend more than #1 million when it comes to making payments to your vendors. So you can add this up. And once you've added it, if the payment, all the payment that you're supposed to make to your vendors is above this limit, it's not going to add that particular a particular vendor to avoid it going beyond the limit that you've added. Set up your currency, just stick with US dollar. Yeah. Set up the payments where you want it to be on a Monday, like we mentioned, you want to go on Wednesday, and since we set it up for 2 days, going to run Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Then we set up the offset account we want to for these transactions. For all these transactions, I want it to be banned. I select a specific offset account to work with. This I select operations. And I can decide to check the vendor balance, define the summarized payment as well, and also delete any negatives. Now here I can go further to be more granular when it comes to the particular records or particular vendors I want this to, to work with. So all I need to go is go to my filter. Now under my filter, I'll be able to select a particular vendor account I want this to work with. So I have vendors, I want to work with this. If I want to work with a specific vendor, I can select it here, select my criteria, to work with this particular vendor. Or if I don't want to work with, I can leave it to access all. There also the transactions I want to work with. Let's say I wanted to work with transactions that have a specific method of payment. Let's say I wanted to only work with customers or vendors that I do electronic payments to. I can set it up, setting up your criteria. And also the currency too as well. I can also set up the currencies for this too as well. So maybe if I want to make payments to only international vendors and there's a specific currency I use for them, I can also select that too as well. And once I'm able to select all of this, all I need to do is click on OK and go and work with that. And next, I click on Finish and we see how this works. So once we set it up, it's going to run as it's supposed to do, just like the collection process automation is supposed to run, and we'll get notified to make payments to our vendors. Of course, it doesn't work the way as the collection process automation, where you're supposed to get an email notification. The whole point about the vendor payment proposal is when it comes to making payments, recurring payments to your vendors, and you want this to be added to your vendor pay journal or your vendor payment journal, is going to automatically collate all of them as at when it's supposed to collate. And you as an organization will now decide to take this further step of posting directly. Remember, we mentioned that it doesn't post automatically. We're the one that will now decide to, okay, all right, we have series of processes, we have series of workflow processes we have to go through to validate payment before we can go ahead and post. It's dependent on each organization. But when it comes to collating all those payments that when you're supposed to do, it allows you to do so successfully. Because our process of collection process automation hasn't worked. Just let's go and see why it didn't work. Select the particular collection process automation. One of the things we mentioned, we're able to see notification whether it was successful or not. So, and see. Okay. We're supposed to work today. Today's 26. Oh, I set it for 6 p.m. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. I click on edit. And I'll change the time to AM so we can see how it works. 11:04. Mind you, you can set any time you want. Since we already have a setup ready, let's go ahead and click on finish and let's wait and see how it works. So this should run in the next 1 minute. This is particular. So while it's running, please feel free to ask questions if there are any area you want to ask questions. Ben, it's over to you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. We'll be entertaining your questions now. I've gone through the chat section, and I'm looking to answer some of the questions that we have here. Okay. Okay, so we have a question here that says, is the system built on SQL? Peter, would you like to take that? Is the system built on SQL?
Yes. So yes, it's built on SQL. Microsoft uses SQL for its data management. Of course, it's way more advanced. It uses alongside Microsoft Azure. That is to make sure it works seamlessly. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
So we have this. Okay. Should get notified soon. Okay, great. So I've gotten a mail that look the contents of the specific invoice name and the due date as well. I can see it as well, and the total amount that is due. So imagine me saying this as a customer, and I have at the collection team, I set up a series of notification that's going to be sent to your customer. And I keep getting all these mail alerts that, look, my invoice is going to be due. And eventually the collection agent calls me up and tells me that my payment is due. You can see the feeling of the customer that, yes, I've gotten all your information, all your alerts. I'm going to go ahead and make payment. So you see how it makes your collection process for organization very smooth. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. So we're having further questions here. And here we have, can I ask if the training is available physically anywhere in Lagos or Abuja? Okay, so the webinar we are having here is to introduce our potential clients to Dynamics 365 and the capacity and the abilities of the product. So for us to be able to have further trainings and further conversations, it would like every interested potential partner to reach out to us. We will be sharing our socials and our email address shortly. So we would entertain would be very happy if you can reach out to us, and then we can further our conversations from here. So here we have, so it can be customized to client's need. Yes, the application can be customized to client's need. The application can be customized to client's need. Okay, I'm getting more questions, so
So we have a question from Olayiwaju. She said, if a customer should get an email notification and their network is cut, how's the notification handled? So it's just like you send a mail to a mail to anyone. So if the customer has a network issue, eventually when he's able to access internet, he should get mail. Yes. It's just like your normal messages where you're disconnected from the internet. Messages won't appear until when you're connected.
all right, thank you, Peter. Okay, we'll be handling a few more questions. So can it work with existing applications in-house? Yes, Microsoft Dynamics 365 has the ability to integrate with other legacy systems. So the application can integrate or work with third-party applications. So yes, it has the ability to interact with in-house existing applications. And the last question, will the recording of this webinar be available? Yes, the recording would be available few days after this webinar. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for attending. We appreciate your presence. Over to you. Good luck.
Okay, so thank you everyone for joining us on this webinar session. So for the recording will be made available on demand. So in case you need, please drop your email address. So I'll be sending in the survey link for you to just do us the honor, give us your feedback on the service session for today. Also, if you have any queries or clarifications or any question, please displayed on the screen is our email address, our handle, our website, and social media handles for Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, Instagram, and yeah, website. So if you need any question, any other clarification for this particular webinar, please feel free to reach out to us. And currently I'll be dropping, like I said earlier on, I'll be dropping in the survey link. Please do us the honor to give us your feedback regarding today's session. Thank you once again for joining us, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.